Now at 9, one U.S. state is trying to remove non-citizens from polls. Find out what this means for the election.
And Election Day is coming up. Find out the latest on the race.
More U.S. citizens are living paycheck to paycheck. Find out what is causing this.
Quarter Pounders are back on McDonald's menu. Learn what has changed.
And I will be tracking record-breaking heat and big-time winds coming up over the next couple days. NewsLink Indiana starts now.
Local news about local people, live from Ball State Unified Media. You're watching NewsLink Indiana.
Good evening and thank you for being with us tonight. I'm Sophie Schick.
And I'm Wyatt Mayer.
Virginia Republican officials are asking the Supreme Court to let the state remove suspected non-citizens from the voter rolls. The move comes after a federal appeals court yesterday refused to reinstate the program. The decision came after a federal judge ordered state election officials to restore the registrations of about 1,600 people. Those people had been removed based on indications they might not be citizens. The judge said the purge violated a federal law that blocks systematic voter roll removals 90 days before a federal election. The law, however, allows a review of individual registrations.
With just 8 days until the election, the presidential candidates remain locked in a tight race. Vice President Kamala Harris is leaning into her messaging on abortion rights and contrasting her character with her opponents. Meanwhile, former President Donald Trump is hammering the Democratic nominee on immigration and the economy. CNN Washington correspondent Julia Benbrook joins us live from the White House with the latest on the race.
The presidential candidates entered the last full week of the election locked in one of the closest races in recent history.
Make no mistake, we will win.
We're not going to take it anymore.
Vice President Kamala Harris has big names joining her on the campaign trail in the final stretch.
Because by every measure, she has demonstrated that she's ready.
Harris emphasizing issues where polls show she has an advantage: abortion rights and preserving democracy. Her marquee event, an address Tuesday in Washington at the site of former President Donald Trump's January 6, 2021 rally that took place prior to the violent attack on the U.S. Capitol.
He is focused and actually fixated on his grievances, on himself, and on dividing our country.
The former president hosted a massive event in Madison Square Garden over the weekend, billed as the launch of the final stage of his candidacy, spotlighting issues that voters favor him on, including the economy and immigration.
The day I take the oath of office, the migrant invasion of our country ends and the restoration of our country begins.
His message overshadowed by the remarks of Trump loyalists who spoke before him, including comedian Tony Hinchcliffe, who referred to Puerto Rico as, quote, a floating island of garbage. The Trump team released a statement saying the joke does not reflect the views of Trump or the campaign. Reporting in Washington, I'm Julia Benbrook.
Keep up with NewsLink Indiana for our election coverage leading up to the big day.
More high-earnings households are living paycheck to paycheck. The Bank of America released a report that says about a fifth of U.S. households that earn more than $150,000 a year are in that situation. The bank says inflation, pricey mortgages, and big utility bills are stretching family budgets thin, even for higher earners. The analysis says some households might find relief as inflation rates drop and kids age out of childcare.
Massachusetts firefighters are starting the week battling brush fires near Salem. Smoke was detected as far south as Boston, 20 miles away. More than 100 acres have burned in the area by brush fires that started Saturday. The fires have been spreading as tourists converge on the city for Halloween events downtown. However, the fires have not had any impact on the festivities. The city's fire chief says the flames have been very difficult to put out because the terrain in the area is very secluded and rocky. Several local and state agencies are using helicopter water drops and drones to identify the heavy burn areas and put out flames. There are no reports of injuries or damage to any homes or businesses.
Now, of course, we can only hope that people continue to stay safe and they get those fires put out.
I agree. Let's check in with Jay Lessick for our weather.
Thank you, Sophie. Thank you, Wyatt. Yes, and now that fire weather risk may actually include some of our area over the next couple days. Looking at current temperatures first, though, we have 60s across much of Indiana, 63 Muncie, 63 Indianapolis, up towards South Bend, down into 59. and then 67 Terre Haute, into the 70s still as you are further south towards Evansville. As the further south and west you are, that's where the warmer temperatures are going to be. The next 12 hours here are going to look a little weird. We're going to reach our low pretty soon here, and the next 12 hours, and it's going to actually increase as we head into the overnight. What we're going to be tracking is that elevated fire risk, record-breaking highs, and gusty winds.
Thank you, Jay. U.S. airlines are now required to refund passengers for a significantly delayed or canceled flight. The new rule went into effect today. Some airlines previously gave out vouchers to passengers if problems occurred with their flight, but a new federal rule changed that, and airlines must give passengers cash refunds. The rule change comes just weeks before the busy holiday travel season gets underway. The airline industry had initially balked about the change, but a group of airline lobbyists says it now supports the refund rule.
Big news for McDonald's fans. McDonald's announced yesterday it will resume selling Quarter Pounders in all of its restaurants. The news comes after tests showed the beef patties used in McDonald's famous sandwich tested negative for E. coli. An outbreak of E. coli linked to the Quarter Pounder has sickened at least 75 people across 13 states. One person has died from the bacteria. Last week, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention issued a food safety alert, and the CDC and other federal agencies, including the Food and Drug Administration, are still trying to determine the source of the outbreak. But the FDA previously said slivered onions or the beef patties were to blame. McDonald's said now that test shows that beef patties are not the source for E. coli, it will resume selling Quarter Pounders but without the onions.
And coming up, the art of thrifting is on the rise and has come to Ball State. Learn more about secondhand shopping and upcycling.
And looking for a late night snack with friends? Find out how you can get involved after the break.
Dear moms and dads, what you have achieved here today is going to help us and our futures. It is why we are coming up on stage to collect your diplomas.
You know it's true.
Mom, we love you always.
Everything I do,
when you graduate, they graduate. Visit finishyourdiploma.org to find free and supportive adult education centers near you.
Last week, Brandon met a girl on a dating app. One day after work, he finally found the courage to ask her out. No answer. He started to panic. Was he being too pushy? Maybe it was too
Sorry I didn't respond. I was driving. I would love to go on a date. How does tonight sound?
Brandon tried to play it cool, but inside he knew. A girl so smart, so responsible. She must be a keeper.
Eva Marie smoked 12,000 packs of cigarettes over 15 years. She quit, and now there's a new lung cancer screening that could save her life. You stopped smoking. Now start screening. No matter how much you smoked, early detection could save you. Talk to your doctor or learn more at savedbythescan.org.
Man, it's lonely. Like, going through life lonely.
There is the therapeutic aspect of music, just expressing how you feel. I'm going to talk to Howie about his feelings, make it into a song.
Welcome back. Last week, you might have noticed some pottery down in the atrium. NewsLink Indiana's Michaela Miller has the story.
Every semester, the Ceramic Guild comes to the atrium to sell their student-made work.
The Clay Guild is a club at Ball State University that provides you with the mugs you need to hold your cup of joe. Despite this club being open for all students, some fired up their ceramic start from an early age.
I came from a very artistic family. I'm the first one to really do ceramics, but in school, as little as kindergarten when we started using clay, I was like, I love this.
For Katie, the Clay Guild serves as more than just nostalgia. It's a place to clear her head when school gets to be too stressful.
For a lot of us, especially when we're doing big projects in our other classes, it's kind of nice just to sit down at the wheel, make a little mug, make a bowl.
By molding stress into creativity, the Clay Guild is doing more than just making the cups you fill.
In the first week of December, the Ceramic Guild will be back to sell more. In Muncie, Michaela Miller, NewsLink Indiana.
All proceeds from the mug sale go back to the Clay Guild. For more information, visit the Clay Guild's BennyLink page.
According to Vogue, dramatic rises in the cost of shipping, materials, and manufacturing have forced many brands to hike their prices to make a profit. The Fashion Industry Studies Club held a pop-up shop to try to bridge the gap between name brands and students. NewsLink Indiana's Abby Urban has more.
The Fashion Industry Studies Club held a pop-up shop in the village last week to showcase donated clothes. Students could drop off clothes in the boxes located around campus to contribute. The focus of the Fashion Industry Studies Club is to promote upcycling and sustainability in the fashion industry, and they believed a pop-up shop was a great way to do just that.
I think it really helps just like emphasize there are so much clothes in the world, even just like in our own closets that we don't wear. So it's like, okay, you could take it to Goodwill, you could, leave it there, but why not bring it to a place and try and give it a new life and just, maybe you don't wear it a lot, but somebody else might wear it so much, so.
The clothing, music, and even the decorations span from the 70s to Y2K. And just like the clothes, the decorations were all donated.
We try not to buy any of our decorations. We fully use like people in the club, just things that we already have. So everything is just from people's dorm rooms, people's houses, things that people found that they want to use, and it's really cool.
Student businesses and local vendors were all invited to promote and sell items from their shops. To add to the vibe, students were encouraged to dress up and come to the shop all out. And although donated clothes may be seen as something of secondhand, one student feels they are a hidden treasure.
You can be creative without having to buy something new. You can be creative without having to spend your money on unethical things. And I think our club really just likes to put out that message that you can get cute things without having to pay a high price or for someone else to pay that price because you get something for cheap.
Creativity boogied out of the VP warehouse and brought joy and positivity to both the Muncie community and Ball State students. In Muncie, Abby Urban, NewsLink, Indiana.
To stay updated on upcoming events, you can follow the Fashion Industry Studies Club on Instagram at FISC_BSU.
For those of you with a craving for some late-night breakfast foods, NewsLink Indiana's Aiden Murray has the scoop on where you can find some late-night pancakes.
Going to college can be a scary change. Meeting new people and being away from home can create an intimidating environment. But here at Ball State, the Christian Campus House is cooking up some good food and a welcoming atmosphere.
I just hope that we develop a reputation of being a place where students feel like they can come here without fear of judgment or fear of not fitting in.
The idea for the Midnight Pancakes originally came from a group of foreign exchange students who enjoyed cooking and wanted to incorporate some American food into a community service project. Since then, the Christian Campus House has continued with the event and evolved it to become a big part of their identity, incorporating pancakes into their logo and merchandise.
And in that sense, we started to get a name for ourselves as not just a religious organization on campus, but also a place that's safe to be for students on campus. And that was really the goal, is to have that community aspect involved with this event.
A strong sense of community matched with delicious food that keeps students and even alumni coming back to enjoy time with friends.
But that first night, it was nice to see all the welcoming people, to get some free food. I thought it's such a novel idea, pancakes at 11 p.m. It's kind of like, who does that? And so we went because it was such a weird thing, and then we ended up loving it and still coming back 4 years later.
If you ever find yourself craving some late-night pancakes, feel free to check out the Christian Campus House, Fridays from 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. In Muncie, Aiden Murray, NewsLink, Indiana.
As the weather gets colder, the late-night pancakes are expecting less attendance, so get yourself some free food while it lasts.
Coming up after the break, record-breaking heat and strong gusty winds will dominate the area over the next couple of days. Just how hot it will get? Find out coming up in my full forecast.
As a dad, every day is a challenge. To make sure that the time that I spend with them, it doesn't matter how tired you are, you have to try to teach them. When they learn something new and you can just see in their faces, it's such an incredible moment. It's those moments that are my favorite.
When it comes to making plans, you are the best.
What about those barbecues you plan in detail for your family? Or your daughter's first costume party? It was out of this world. The same way you plan each detail for those moments, start planning to protect you and your loved ones from a natural disaster. Sign up for local weather and emergency alerts. Prepare an emergency kit and make a family communications plan. Protecting your family is the best plan you can make.
When tornadoes touched down in parts of our viewing area, NewsLink Indiana kept you informed days in advance.
You do need to be seeking shelter.
Marginal risk of severe weather.
And days after.
The roof has been ripped completely off of this house,
giving you a first-hand look at the communities affected.
When your neighbors lose their house and you don't, how lucky you are.
The first to alert you of severe weather before it happens. NewsLink Indiana Weather.
Can't believe you're doing this alone. I've done it before. I remember you threw your back out. How you holding up?
Hand me that board.
Nothing wrong with getting help.
I'm good.
I did it when Felicia left.
I'll figure it out.
I know you will, but you don't have to do it alone. That's all I'm saying.
If I promise to look into it, will you drop it and help me build this fence?
Now you need the help.
It can be a real pain sometimes, you know that?
Mm-hmm.
If you or a veteran you know needs support, don't wait. Reach out. Find resources at va.gov/reach.
Welcome back. Record-breaking heat and gusty winds are going to move into our area. First, we're going to look at the current temperatures. 63 Muncie, 63 also in Indianapolis, 67 Terre Haute, into the 70s down towards Evansville, 59 up in South Bend. That's going to be the cold point for the time being. For today, our high we reached was 71, and if you take a look at the wall over here, 61 is the average high that we get. So we're 10 degrees above normal. And then here in the bottom right corner, we're only 6 degrees off of the 77-degree record, which we set back in the year 2000. So there are more record temperatures to come. The next 12 hours may look a little weird here, as we're actually supposed to be pretty steady throughout. We're going to reach our low pretty quickly here over the next hour or two, and then it's going to climb a couple degrees and just kind of stay at that 63, 64 throughout the night. So it should actually rise as we go through the overnight. And that overnight low we have, 59, we're going to see that pretty soon here. And those gusts are really what's going to be the story heading overnight. They're going to pick up out of the south, those southerly winds bringing us that warm air for those temperatures tomorrow. 20, 25 gusting out of the south tonight. Tomorrow, waking up 61 degrees by 8 a.m. You're going to have those gusts as well out of the south, sticking at around 25. Some could even push upwards to 30. We'll have more on that in a little bit here. 74 by noon for lunch. That's when we have more gusty winds. And then look at this, 81 by 5. That's when we may shatter and likely will shatter our record high for that day. And again, those winds are going to maintain themselves throughout the day. The 24-hour temperature change, 19 degrees in Muncie, 11 degrees in Indianapolis. That's how much we've warmed over the past 24 hours. Those numbers are only going to climb upwards as we head over the next couple days and into those record-setting 80-plus degree temperatures. Those winds are going to be the main story. We have 31-mile-an-hour winds potentially further west, and our area, 26 Muncie, we could be pushing 30 in some areas depending exactly where you are, and those winds are going to persist throughout tomorrow and throughout Wednesday before slowly dying off as a cold front makes its way. With that comes the drought monitor, those high temperatures, those gusty winds. That's going to elevate the drought monitor, which is going to increase the fire danger over the next couple of days. That is something we are really going to have to monitor over the next couple of days. That 6 to 10 day temperature outlook, as we see here, it's still going to be above average for the vast majority of the eastern part of the country, a little bit cooler out west. And then for that 7 day, 82 tomorrow, 81 Wednesday. We see those windy conditions and record highs before a cold front moves in Thursday, bringing us some relief in the terms of rain and those temperatures. And that's going to cool things off quite a bit into the weekend. We see 57 with those lows into the 30s, and into the weekend 65, 69, possibly even some more rain as we head into early next weekend, where we will be back towards the seasonal temperatures. I was not expecting temperatures to be in the 80s late October into November.
Yeah, I mean, neither was I, of course, but we're sort of in that time of the year where it's really cold out in the morning, and then by the time it's, 3 o'clock, you're taking off your sweatshirt and you're sweating. So
multiple outfits today.
Absolutely, I'm not a fan.
Yeah, very confusing weather. I'm ready for the colder weather. I'm ready to stay like that. I'm ready for some hot cocoa and blankets and cuddle up watching a good movie. So
absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Jay. And there's lots more to get to on NewsLink Indiana. Stephen Grata has a preview of sports.
Thanks, Sophie and Wyatt. A playoff team parts ways with a head coach. Plus, Ball State keeps the stock in Muncie. All this and more next in sports.
It's something about having that piece of paper. Some people think that's worth more than my skills.
I've run this place for 20 years, but I still need to prove that I'm more than what you see on paper.
You gotta be so good they can't ignore you.
It's the way my mind works. I have a very mechanical brain.
Analytics and empathy. That's how I've gained clients.
I am more.
I'm more
than who I am on paper.
When I was growing up, my mom was extremely tidy. We were trained to put things back where we got them from. One day, when I walked into my mom's house, I felt like I walked to someone else's house. There was stuff everywhere, and just growing up the way I grew up, and to see this transition was very alarming.
When Sean talked to me, it was a wake-up call, and that's when I went to the doctor.
¿Qué color? Perfecto, mijo.
Gracias. Thank you.
What's wrong, mijo?
Donating to a pet's medical care is one of the many ways you can help families in your community. Pets and people belong together. Learn more at petsandpeopletogether.org.
At night, NewsLink Indiana brings you the news before you go to bed.
But Friday mornings, you're waking up with Cardinal Weather, bringing you up to speed on the day's top stories.
And giving you up-to-the-minute conditions from the Ball State Weather Center.
And of course, lots of fun.
I gave mine personality.
Oh,
look, it's got eyebrows.
Ooh. My lucky glove didn't even work.
But I also am excited for those fall temperatures.
Start your Friday mornings with Cardinal Weather, live on the Cardinal Weather Facebook page. Welcome back to NewsLink Indiana. I'm Stephen Grotto with sports. Shocking news out of the WNBA as the Indiana Fever fired head coach Christy Sides. Sides led the Fever to a 20-20 record this past season, which included a playoff appearance for the first time since 2016. Indiana started the season an abysmal 2-9 before rebounding off the play of Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston to earn that first playoff bid in 8 years. Despite this turnaround, it wasn't enough for Sides to earn a third year at the helm of the Fever, with new management taking over in the front office. Sides' axing marks the 6th head coach firing of the WNBA offseason. Ball State football took on Northern Illinois over homecoming weekend. NewsLink Indiana's Jaden Collins has more.
We take it very serious when it's homecoming, because in order for it to be a great homecoming, the football team's got to win the game.
Homecoming weekend was capped off in dramatic fashion Saturday evening as Ball State football took on Northern Illinois in the battle for the Bronze Stalk, the winning token of the MAC rivalry since 2008. The Cardinals started strong in the first half with 2 Caden Samanza touchdown passes, both hauled in by tight end Tanner Koziel. In the second half, NIU rallied, but Cardinals kicker Jackson Corville put the Huskies away with 2 field goals from 50 yards out, including the game winner with 5 seconds left in the fourth quarter.
I mean, the situation is what it is. This is the MAC, and we're in dogfights sometimes, and those one-possession games, it comes down to things like that. So the teams that are able to prepare for those moments and understand what they need to do in those moments, live up to them, and get the win in the end.
Corville, who hit a game winner over NIU as a freshman last season, made 4 of his 5 attempts to lift the Cardinals to victory in this year's rematch. His hard work before the games is not something that goes unrecognized.
He's probably one of the most consistent people that I've ever met. I see him all the time. I'm in the stadium because I'm here all day, and I'm like, bro, what are you doing here? You're a kicker. He's like, I got to stay ready. All right then, Jackson, do your thing.
The Cardinals will play the back half of their 2-game homestand next Tuesday when they host the Miami of Ohio Redhawks in the Redbird rivalry. In Muncie, Jaden Collins, NewsLink Indiana.
And with that victory over the Huskies this Saturday comes more hardware than just the bronze stalk. After a career game, kicker Jackson Corville wins the Pridemark Construction Student Athlete of the Week. The sophomore kicker out of Ohio signed in his role, going 4 for 5 in the game, putting his season total at 7 for 9. Before the matchup against the Huskies, Corville was 0 for 4 from 50-yard kicks. He is now 2 for 6 after he drilled 2 from over 50 yards and a career high of 52 yards as time expired in the fourth. Corville was responsible for over half of Ball State's points with 13 of the 25. Corville and the Cardinals will face off next week in Maction against the Miami Redhawks in the Redbird rivalry on the 5th. For a live game update, join NewsLink Indiana's Jake Dickman at Schumann Stadium during our hour-long election show. Thrilling game on Saturday. It was really great to see us come back and win that, especially with that game winner from Jackson.
Yeah, absolutely. It was super fun to watch. Now, I didn't actually go to the game. I almost wish that I did now because that was honestly a spectacular win.
Yeah, I was at the game with my parents, so it was very exciting to see a win with my family. So.
Yeah, of course. Well, thank you so much, Stephen. And coming up, learn how one man tested his luck and won big.
And we have a final look at weather after the break.
Attacks against Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders are on the rise.
My simple solution to the problem was remove people from the scene and help them feel safer. In terms of the hate crimes, I think there is so much more work to be done. We really need to come together and tackle this issue as a community.
I'm an ex-drug dealer, and I'll be your sub today. Two milligrams of fentanyl can be lethal. A lethal dose is in here. Who gets it, I won't know.
It's cheap, it's potent, and it's profitable. The sad reality is, fentanyl is being mixed into everything now.
More kids should know.
There are 16 million children struggling with hunger in America. That's 1 in 5 daughters, sons, neighbors, and classmates who don't know where their next meal is coming from. Yet billions of pounds of good food go to waste every year. It's time we do something about it. Feeding America is a nationwide network of food banks that helps provide meals to millions of kids and families in need. Visit feedingamerica.org to help them feed even more. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're feeding America.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome back. A North Carolina man cannot believe his luck. Last Tuesday, Jerry Hicks went to a convenience store and found $20 laying in the parking lot. Hicks went into the store and bought a scratch-off lottery ticket. Turns out that ticket was worth $1 million. Hicks claimed his prize last Friday and says he plans to use the money to help his children and retire after 56 years as a carpenter. Now, after 56 years of working as a carpenter, he definitely deserves that $1 million. That is a lot of hard work.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have to say, I'm jealous. I've found, a $20 bill on the ground before, but $1 million, that's just hasn't happened to me.
Should have bought a lottery ticket with it.
I guess I should have. Well, now let's have a final look at our weather.
Thank you. So taking a look at the 7-day forecast here, 82 degrees for Tuesday, likely to be record-breaking highs both Tuesday and Wednesday. With that is going to come gusty winds throughout Tuesday and Wednesday. Thursday is when a cold front moves through the area, gives us relief from this heat, and with that is also going to come some rain before a big cool-off after that. Friday, 57, and then the weekend, 65 and 69, respectively, with more rain chances coming Sunday into Monday. And then taking a look at those lows as well, starting in the 60s for Tuesday, Wednesday, before trailing off into the 30s and 40s.
I gotta say, I'm not a fan of that cold weather.
Yeah, it's definitely starting to get me, walking home late at night. It's quite frigid, I have to say.
I wish that I could just spawn in like a little cup of hot cocoa wherever I go with a little candy cane on it.
Yeah, no, I've been craving hot cocoa as soon as I felt those cold gusts of winds hit me right in the face.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything like that. Well, thank you so much. And that's all tonight for NewsLink Indiana. Be sure to tune in tomorrow night at 9, streaming live on the NewsLink Indiana Facebook page.
And for news anytime, anywhere, just go to ballstatedaily.com. Have a great night and stay safe.